Good morning, one and all. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing this morning? It's raining outside, so I can't go to work at the present moment in time. I still have bills to pay. So I decided to take the time out to speak on various issues that I think are worth talking about. But as you know, I always start off with a piece of scripture. Now, as a Christian, like I said before, I have not always lived according to what I actually stand for and the belief systems that I believe in. And first and foremost, I want to apologize again for cursing and swearing. And though I haven't pulled down the video and probably won't pull down the video in this case, I don't feel happy about it. But having said that anyway, let's start off with a piece of scripture. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, so be it. I'll read from Psalms 91. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read parts of it. Shout out to each and every one of you guys in the chat section. As you can see, the topic is studio meddling and white privilege and hypocrisy. So it's three different titles, but they're all kind of interlinked with one another, showing the sort of the world in which we have sort of a unequal kind of world we live in. There's a lot of things I want to say, so I'm going to take my time, go through each one, and we'll see how long this video is as a result of that. Excuse me, man. I'm still kind of sleepy, and I still need to drink water. So in between this video, I'm probably going to drink some water. All right. Now, in terms of video making, the video I'm making is an absolute no-no. What I mean by that is usually people present their videos. You know, if you're going to do a really proper video, you have proper lighting, you have proper background, you have your subject matter arranged very nicely. You guys know. And this is just another thing that I find very funny. I don't do videos, at least these videos, I don't do these videos, obviously, for likes and views. And if anybody's smart enough to understand the part of the world I'm in Trinidad and Tobago, just so some of these people who are trying to throw this accusation on me, I've seen them start this accusation because, you see, my videos have a big impact, whether people like it or not. My videos literally get circulated everywhere, and then people actually go and watch my videos. I don't get likes and views for them, but they literally have an impact, a profound impact on the community I'm in, because that's just the way it is. But anyway, the point behind it is, if I wanted to do a video, all right, where I'm trying to get views and stuff, I wouldn't do a video like this. The lighting in this is atrocious. I don't have any background. I'm not advertising my product very well. Even though I still want you guys to donate to my channel if you think the content in my channel, always the content, is good. But if you guys ever, you guys come to my channel because you find that I'm honest as a person in any video as much as I can be. And you also realize when I give you something from my channel, any channel, I have a boxing channel. When I was doing the boxing channel, people always appreciated it because it always gave you a perspective. Not only that the common perspective out there wasn't giving, but also it gave you a perspective with knowledge. In other words, I don't ever come talking nonsense, if anybody has ever seen it. People have accused me of talking out of my butt, and I just laugh because usually when they say that, it's because they cannot counter my argument. They're exasperated, and they know that. So anyways, right now you're getting a nice thick silhouette of me amidst an unmade bed with some pillows in the background and a wall. It's probably hilarious, but still going to discuss the topic. This is not the best way to do video, by the way, folks, so don't follow my lead. All right, but anyway, I really wanted to talk, so we're going to talk about some stuff. Psalms 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Let me just say, Psalms 91 is a psalm that a lot of people like to talk about. And if they say it's a psalm of protection, blah, 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 blah. I want to tell you something. And I've always said this, and I'll always maintain it. And this is what I truly believe at my core. The greatest protection in the world is simply protecting your integrity and your character. It is the intangibles. Protection, in my opinion, who knows what will happen to us tomorrow? That's kind of irrelevant. I think the most relevant thing is that as people here in this world, that we protect our character and our integrity as we are in our core. What I mean by that is no matter what happens in your life, who you are as a person must be maintained, and that is what is important. Do not compromise. You know, one thing we can say about Rorschach in The Watchmen, for those of you who know Zack Snyder's Watchmen, is he said, in the face of Armageddon, never compromise. And that is a very good attribute to hold fast to. So we're going to talk a lot about the DCEU, but as usual, it has pop culture relevance. And the most important and rooted foundation of the DCEU is, in fact, there's a telephone ringing in the background, which you guys can hear. I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to come right back. But the really important thing about the DCU to me were the values and how Zack Snyder started this film, this series, this universe on values, and it's continuing onwards, hopefully in the future films as well. Hold on a second. I'm coming back. Raining cats and dogs out there. Looks like it's gonna be a super rainy day. I'm still gonna go out and go to work. Haven't been working on whatever. Okie dokie. Oh gosh, it's really raining out there. Really raining out there. Okay, so let's talk about the topics at hand. But like I said before, it's your character that's most important while you're alive. When you're not alive, it doesn't matter. So at the end of the day, when I read Psalms 91, it's, to me, Psalms 91 is not about physical protection per se. For me, Psalms 91 is speaking about your spiritual protection. It's speaking about the values that you have, and you don't wander away from those good values. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's an amazing thing to hear. Shadow of the Almighty. And it's really interesting that this video right now has a shadow. You can see a lot of shadows. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. So refuge is a place where you go to get shelter, to be able to live in, is your refuge. And then, of course, fortress as well. It's impenetrable. So when Jesus was dying on the cross and people were, really attacking him and stuff, he was in that secret place of the Most High. He was in that fortress that no matter what people did to him, his character would not change. He would not flint. He would not change his face. In fact, there's another place in Isaiah that talks about that I did not turn my face to the people who were despising me and attacking me. And that's an incredible strength of character. When people are doing wickedness to you, in the midst of that, literally doing you wickedness, you're not going to change and fall from the character that you were. And that's an immense amount of strength that even I don't always have. And so that's what this Psalms 91 to me is about. I got to go and get some water. I'm going to be going in and out a little bit. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about, therefore, studio meddling, white privilege, and hypocrisy in the context of that. Okay, hold on a second. I'm coming back. Oh. Man, it's raining out there. It's kicking up a storm. This morning it had sun shining, rain was falling. Same. Gotta go out to work. This rain keeps falling, I won't be able to go anywhere. All right, guys. Oh, all right. Yeah, back to what I was saying. So, we're going to get to it. So, we're going to screen share. Shout out to you guys in the chat section, whoever's in the chat section. If you are, is there anyone in the chat section? Shout out to you at this time. Let's see, where am I? Where am I? Okay, so I have a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk to you guys about. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you guys about. Before I get there, discussing those things, so to set up one or two things here. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. Wonderful. We're going to go into screen share. Voila. All right. I'm going to start off talking about studio meddling first. The strength of character is everything. Now, in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, came to know and realize something that's very interesting. These here are designs by a gentleman who actually designed the Atlantean costumes for Justice League. Let me zoom in a little bit. There you go, nice and sharp right there. His name is, as you can see here, Kelton Graham. So Kelton Graham, he's the guy that designed the Atlantean outfits for Justice League. Not really awesome. But he also, Kelton Graham, also designed the Metallo costume for Batman v Superman. You knew there was a Metallo in Batman v Superman? It was supposed to be a Metallo. And we had hints of this because we saw Dr. Emmett Vale there. But it's very interesting and something I should have done a little bit of research on, but I didn't. That I will show you something. I will show you. So anyway, this is Kelton Graham, and he's a concept artist, and he did this for, of course, Batman v Superman. You can see the logo there, Batman v Superman logo. It's Kelton Graham right there. Kelton Graham. And this is the suit. Look at it. This is beautiful. And in fact, Metallo was supposed to be one of those main villains for Batman v Superman. I think I told you guys that, and I showed you some concept art also by another concept designer whose name is slipping me right now. It was a different concept designer that did that. And I'll come back to that in a minute. But suffice it to say that, oh yeah, here he is. This is the guy here. It's something McKinnon. I forgot what his whole name is. Something McKinnon. Here it is. You saw this design. I showed you guys that actually Metallo was supposed to be in Batman v Superman. All right. And as you can see again, Metallo doesn't have any feet. His feet are missing. If you look here at Kelton Graham's concept art here, which is much more realistic looking, you will see that again, he's missing his feet. He's connected to these things. He's missing his feet. Now, if you do remember in Batman v Superman, there was a character who was missing feet. Come out of this for a minute. All right, there was a character that was missing his feet. That character's name was Wallace Vernon Keefe. Right? You can see his stumps right there. Let me zoom in on it. Wallace Vernon Keefe. He lost his feet in the Black Zero event in Batman v Superman. And it turns out when I went and looked at, there you go, nice and big. That's Wallace. You can see he misses his feet right here. But if you look at Wallace Vernon Keefe here, I'll let you have a better look at his face. Look at his face there. You will notice that Wallace Vernon Keefe very much resembles this concept art character. Look at that. And again, he's missing feet. His suit. In other words, I believe that the actor who played Wallace Vernon Keefe was actually drawn by concept art to be Metallo. So it's not an if or buts, but in Batman v Superman, there was supposed to be a Metallo in that story, and it makes sense that Wallace Vernon Keefe would hate Superman and call him not a hero, because if he became Metallo, then Metallo could be Superman's enemy, and he would actually have a motivation for hating Superman because he believed that Superman brought about the disaster on him. And it's even more surprising because when I think about it, even the explosion that happened, Zack Snyder said, you know, when people said, you know, do you think Mercy Gray was dead after the explosion? Or Lex Luthor killed Mercy Gray, and Zack Snyder said, are you sure she's dead? Depicting that Mercy Gray did not die. The question is, if Mercy Gray didn't die, folks, did Wallace O'Keefe die? And even if he did die, if his body was incinerated, whatever, could they have recovered his body, and could Dr. Emmett Vale have created Metallo from him? You can see his suit is green, meaning a kryptonite was used to make the suit. Now, the earlier Robert McKinnon was the guy who did the early concept art for Metallo. There's some early concept art here, Metallo here, down here. Again, he doesn't have feet. He's weaponized at this point in time. He's wearing this weaponized suit with the kryptonite powering it, because it has radiation. And what's interesting is, just imagine if this is the undersuit of Metallo. Hold on a second. I clicked the wrong thing. Let me try and unclick that. Come out of this shit. This computer is really playing up its ass, man. Now it's frozen on me. Shit. Okay. Just froze up on me. Sorry about that, guys. But just imagine. Here is Metallo's outfit, and this is the undersuit that Metallo wears. So it's very possible that he can be weaponized and put an oversuit on him, and then he would be the perfect opponent or adversary for Superman. Now, this is a plane engine of some kind that's falling down, and apparently Metallo, this plane has been destroyed, some plane or the other, and Metallo here with his armaments. Now, I don't really particularly like this particular look here, because this looks way too unreal, but it does show that they were planning to put together this particular weaponized human in Batman v Superman. You know, kind of Matrix-like, where he's kind of plugged in different places, and he probably wasn't human anymore because of the explosion or whatever. So his body probably was toasted mostly, but it's really interesting. And Warner Brothers, by interfering, and Jeff Johns, it's alleged, Warner Brothers and Jeff Johns allegedly interfered with the process of bringing forth Metallo. And so we didn't have Metallo in the storyline. All right. And you could see that Zack Snyder was setting that precedent for Metallo through Wallace Vernon Keefe's demise, where he lost his legs and his wife left him and his child was dead. So it's really sad, apparently, that we have to, we got the foundation, but we never got that capitalization on Metallo. I don't know if it's somewhere in the execs kind of pushed Zack to have to move to abandon that project or what. But again, the interference by a studio based on what a director really wants to do or really wants to go a certain place it's kind of sad when you see that it has to be course corrected and there's something else done. You know, this the story of Batman v Superman is already a masterpiece, the ultimate cut. But just imagine if you had Metallo in that mix. You know, multiple villains. We already had two. And then that would have made Doomsday even more, it would have been more real because people would have seen Metallo, and for people to believe that Doomsday could come forward. And it's just one of those things that I thought would have enriched the film even more with the higher stakes, and also probably remove some of the boredom of some people, because now we have a villain and we know his motive. You know, Lex Luthor's motive wasn't always clear. He seemed to hide his motive, even though we knew he hated Superman. It's sort of hidden and subtle. When you look at even Doomsday's creation, and Doomsday's just mindless beast, the mindless beast didn't really add any dimension. It wasn't a dimensional beast. You know what I mean? And so that in itself, again, but just imagine a person from the beginning of the film, from the first time you saw the film, having a motivation to hate Superman, and to see his development throughout. And it's a clear-cut development because you know he has a hate for Superman. And maybe he dies, and they resuscitate the body like Mercy Graves, and they're able to bring forth this mechanism. And this is the mechanism that's antagonist to Superman as well. And probably also helps to bring forth his demise, because that machine-like thing, either Superman is able to conquer that machine, or it is that the machine teams up with Doomsday. So either Superman conquers Metallo somehow, some way, and as a result of that, he wins. Lex Luthor kind of loses because Lex Luthor probably has some dealings with Metallo. And then Lex Luthor tries Doomsday and succeeds with Doomsday, killing Superman, but Superman in the process killing Doomsday. That would have been even cooler. That storyline would have been crazy. So either he conquered Metallo, or maybe Metallo teams up with Doomsday, whatever. At the end of the day, this would have made for an even more enriched story, and an even more crazy story. Now, it was said, and these are all rumors, of course, so I must clarify, that it was said that someone leaked what was happening in BVS, so they changed the storyline to accommodate. And most people feel it's Jeff Johns trying to sabotage the event behind the scenes, you know, that did this. Now, I don't know if that's true, but what I can say, because I don't go by rumors, what I can say is definitely we knew that the actor who played Wallace O'Keefe, we have this physical evidence to show that that actor is Metallo. And I remember one of you was saying that in the comment section, and now I can give you visual proof to show that. His face is very much like Metallo's face here. So that definitely Wallace O'Keefe, the actor who was playing Wallace O'Keefe, is what they used to do the concept art for Metallo. And I'm guessing that he would have had to do training and stuff later on to fit into this role and look buff and stuff like that. I find very cool. So I just wanted to verify that with you guys. And again, integrity. A studio should go off of integrity, no matter what. If this is the idea Zack Snyder had, and you brought forth Metallo, then obviously Warner Bros. Actually moved in the direction of what the people who were trying to sabotage and bring about what Disney's version of this movie was. You actually went in that direction. So if you had put in Metallo, you would not be in the same direction as what Walt Disney did. So I feel like there's somebody inside of Warner Brothers sabotaging Warner Brothers continuously, so that it will mirror something that, or should I say, the MCU could mirror something that the DCEU is doing, and then the DCU would get lambasted for it, and then the MCU would get praised for it. I just feel like there's someone sabotaging Warner Brothers, because these decisions are just so ridiculous and so stupid. You wonder, what are you trying to do? Destroy? Are you a feeder for the MCU so that the MCU will get praised? What is going on? Something weird is going on in Warner Bros. That's for sure. The fact that they won't even release the Snyder Cut, again, a superior film, somebody's sabotaging that. That's what I truly believe, somewhere, somehow. I don't know exactly how, but there feels like there's some sort of sabotage going on inside of the DCEU. Let's keep it moving. So, okay, nobody's saying anything in the chat section. That's cool. I want to go now to white privilege, and I want to go to specifically the hypocrisy that I see out here. So once again, we saw that, as I said before, your integrity is the more important thing. And when we look here at Roseanne Barr's tweet, I just want to remind you guys what Roseanne Barr said. Roseanne Barr tweeted, Muslim Rosenbar tweeted, Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby equals VJ. And VJ in this case was Valerie Jarrett. And Valerie Jarrett was former President Obama's senior advisor, and she was the person behind the dealings between Israel and Palestine. She was trying to bring about was equality, that Israel was abusing their power, and especially in certain areas like the Gaza Strip, etc. And they were shooting and gunning down people indiscriminately and trying to bully the Palestinians. And yes, the Palestinians come into Israel and they need to be defensive about protecting themselves from suicide bombers. But Israel was abusing that and definitely killing innocent people, of which a journalist who was investigating the whole thing was also murdered by Israeli troops who shot the person down and blew them up from a tank. Okay, so what the pressure that was put on Israel to come to an agreement, and the sanctions that were put on Israel by the United Nations through the Obama administration, was because Israel was abusing their power. So just like the police abuse their power, and we have police brutality and excessive force by the police on black people, similarly, that's what Israel is doing. Now, Roseanne Barr goes up on Fox News. She has multiple different reasons for saying this tweet that she tweeted, which was very racist. She goes up and she tries to apologize. Oh, no, she's not trying to apologize now. She's trying to defend it by saying she was making a political tweet. And then she goes on to say that Valerie Jarrett was the person that drafted the legislation that the United States proposed to the United Nations to put sanctions on Israel to control the way how they treat the Palestinians. And so she says she's trying to show that she had strong disagreement because she's a Jewish person. She's using herself as Jewish now. And she said all of the different works that I've done to help black people and I've been nominated by black people. Now, she says all of this to obscure the racist comment that she made. And if you notice, all of these racist comments are usually based on phobias. Her phobia of Islam, her phobia of black people. And black people are always referred to as animals. It's a very common sort of racist statement we see from people from the South. We see from Donald Trump, and so on. So when people pointed out that her statement was racist, she says she was so appalled. Now, I'm going to show you how white privilege and hypocrisy is rampant in America. Okay? Roseanne Barr said something that was unforgivable. She made a statement. She said it's when she was using medication. It's not medication brings you out to say those things. Don't even go there. That's something deep in your heart and your soul. And a lot of people are saying, well, Christians say forgive and forget. I can forgive you, but there are consequences to your actions. And even if she apologized for that, which would be very good, you don't go back and try and defend it. And she went up on Fox News trying to defend what she was really meant and so on. And every time Roseanne Barr tries to make an excuse for her statement, she comes with multiple different excuses. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. This article was really good at showing that. So the tweet instantaneously hit with criticisms from fans, and Hulu soon released a statement confirming they stand in solidarity with ABC and won't make any more episodes of the revamped sitcom available to watch in their service. And a spokesperson confirmed to the Hollywood Reporter, we support ABC's decision on removing the show from Hulu. All right, so they canceled the show, which is correct. That's what you're supposed to do. Roseanne later posted a statement in an apology on Twitter calling it a bad taste joke. She said that was supposed to be a joke and a bad taste one at that. So she said she repented of it. But then she turned around a little bit later. She said, I apologize to Valerie Jarrett and all Americans. I'm truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me. My joke is in bad taste. And by the way, this joke has a backdrop to it. This is in a racially tense situation where Donald Trump, all right, had called black people in countries like Haiti and Africa shitty countries, okay? He turned around and said that those sons of bitches to black athletes who kneeled for the national anthem. This is in the backdrop of that. Not only in the backdrop of that, but also a common sentiment on the internet at the time that Barack Obama's wife was considered an ape and she was not a woman of class. This is the backdrop of that. Roseanne Barr chose to make that joke. This is a lot of context to this. This is not just a joke. This is something that she believes in. This is not an edgy joke. She's not trying to be edgy, okay? This is something she truly believes. And to confirm this, I'm going to go to what Tom Arnold actually said way before Roseanne Barr was considered, made that racist statement. And by the way, Roseanne Barr had made several of those statements before that about people, specific people, calling them apes and saying racist statements, very much racist. And this is how you're able to sift the sheep from the goats, because people want to, again, use a false equivalency for what James Gunn did. Way back in 9 years ago, that would be in 2009, that he did. And James Gunn was known for edgy stuff, as does Roseanne Barr. But the difference is James Gunn was not intentionally trying to say what he was saying, mainly because at the time he was trying to be edgy and provocative. This is different. Okay? Roseanne Barr is not trying to be edgy and provocative here. In fact, she says she was drunk, showing that she wasn't trying to be edgy and provocative. This is something that's coming out from inside of her. Okay? James Gunn has been known, all his TV shows and everything has been edgy and provocative. Everything he does is edgy and provocative. Okay? And it just so happened that at the time when James Gunn was saying these things, edgy and provocative was okay. Okay? And note, James Gunn wasn't saying this about any particular individual or people. He was making a generic statement. Okay? He was making a generic statement on rape. And by the way, he was talking about being raped and not raping someone. There's a difference. Okay? So if you go and check out James Gunn's statements, multiple statements, he's talking about being raped and how it would feel. He talks about also, similarly, if he was a child, like a teenage boy, and he got raped, what would that mean? Then he talks about teenage boys actually servicing him, right? And he made that as a joke. Now, whether that's true or not, that's something in his heart or not, is another story. But that is edgy and provocative, okay? And I'm not saying he's right for doing that. Those, every single one of those things are horrible, okay? They are horrible statements, especially in the PC world today. They look back at as horrible. Now, he apologized for those things, and he never made them again. And he never tried to rationalize it. James Gunn to this day has not said or tried to defend what he said. It's other people defending what he said. He just said, okay, all right, I deserve it. And he pulled off on the scene. He didn't even try to engage Disney on that, okay? Roseanne Barr is still trying to defend herself. But here's the thing. Oh, by the way, Roseanne's producer and comedian Wanda Sykes said she would not be returning to the show either, okay? Because it was an atrocious statement. It was not, this was not anything, you know. Okay. Now, Tom Arnold, who is Roseanne Barr's ex-husband, he had said long before Roseanne Barr had ever been called racist that she was racist. Even though she was doing all these things for black people and etc., and being a spokesperson for them, she was racist. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. Tom Arnold has plenty of outrageous, inflammatory things to say about President Donald Trump. And he talked about the series The Hunt for the Trump Tapes with Tom Arnold. He had choice words, but only a few about his ex-wife, Roseanne Barr, who had recently been fired from ABC's hit revival Roseanne after comparing former Obama aide Jared Valley to an ape. Not just an ape, an Islamic ape, mind you. Arnold wouldn't speculate how Barr would react to his Viceland show in which he tries to unearth supposed tapes of Trump saying racist or otherwise damaging statements. But he did criticize white people's response to the tweet, saying it was wrong for them to worry about what would happen to Barr rather than the racist comment itself. And this is why I'm talking about white privilege and hypocrisy and racism. All right? I'll get back to Monique in a minute, or Monisha, whatever her name is. It's always about white people feeling better. When Roseanne did the monkey thing with Valerie Jarrett, people were like, well, she's going to be okay. He said, I was like, whoa, that was racist. And here are black kids that have to deal with that every single day. I have personally been called a monkey when I was in the United States of America. I was doing research, very intelligent guy, go in, I played jazz and stuff. Some white people were envying me because I was in the middle of the music hall playing jazz and stuff that folks never heard before, right? People used to gather by the door and watch me. So I came by and I was playing some jazz, and I came in, I heard a guy playing some Beethoven. So I went in. This guy he's dressed up in dreadlocks. He's a white dude. So I was smiling by the door, and the guy says to me, I thought it was a monkey by the door. He's insulting me. So I come in, and he's constantly trying to insult me with every turn. But I didn't really take him on too much. As I was walking away, he curses me out in a very nice way with a smile, insulting me as I leave, because I was telling him about Beethoven. And I liked the progression that he was using, how his interpretation of Beethoven. And he insults me as I go through the door. That's the kind of hate. And he's wearing dreadlocks. So I say, you know why you wear dreadlocks? You know the significance? He said it's just a style. And that's what he went. And then I left. And I realized this guy was a flaming racist. He would be moving as if he's nice, but he actually hates. He's walking around hating people of color. And they hated me because I was not in the music section, but I would come in the music section, listen to different people playing stuff. And when I put down my stuff, having seemingly no background in music like they did, they were envious of me. In fact, I remember going to California Riverside. I played jazz, and I play my own version of jazz. It's a homemade kind of version of jazz. And I play all kinds of weird stuff. And folk would come by, hear it, be interested in stuff. This guy, he saw me. When he realized I wasn't doing any classes, he immediately started working on the people inside of the faculty to get rid of me, to try and kick me out of that section, because I would play sometimes in the afternoon all through the night. And literally security came. I actually was homeless at the time, and security came hunting for me inside of there. They started locking the rooms so I wouldn't get inside. A white dude, he befriended me. He did as if he was my friend, but he was really my enemy, and he hated me. Yeah, he hated me, man. Dude hated me. And he tried to get me kicked off the university and stuff. But I ended up still, certain people gave me a blind. It was just kindness, and God directed me. So I was always out of the way of these people. But I saw the evil in people's heart. I remember this guy, he tried to offer me an apartment to stay in. But he really was trying to get me out of there, right? And that's the hate in people's hearts, man, and jealousy. I remember performing a song that I did, I think it was called On My Own, in a university where I was studying. And I remember this vividly, people jeering me. I remember going to another university that was in North America, Northwest. And some white people, some white guys said, we're going to get you. We're going to get you. We're going to destroy you. We're going to kill you. I remember them muttering that under their breath. Because, see, there's a long story to that, but white people, man. So, yeah, I know about smiling, but you hating underneath. And I know about people who say, oh, we did all these things for black people, but really and truly, you a hater. You're a freaking hater. Okay. And so Roseanne Barr more than clearly shows, and her husband pointed it out. He pointed out that she was racist. She literally was racist, not just in her statement. You can't get to that statement. You can't get to such an inflammatory statement of calling somebody a monkey unless, and an Islamic monkey at that, unless you got that racism brewing under you, because you feel that this person is messing up how the dynamics of what's going on with your so-called group of people, and you want things to be. And I'm going to say this, again, so that some people will understand, just because somebody's Jewish doesn't mean they're not racist. Just because somebody's black doesn't mean that they're not racist against their own race of people. All right? They can become a spokesperson for racist people. So don't get it twisted. So her saying she's a Jew doesn't mean shit. Okay. And just because you went through a Holocaust doesn't mean you ain't racist. Okay. You know, it's interesting. You may be somebody who's saying, remember the Holocaust, and you may be talking about atrocities to your people. But yet in the same breath, you could turn around without empathy and literally say that these black people need to pull themselves by their bootstrap. And, you know, these black people, I met some very racist Jews. Let me just put it to you that way. So I'm not saying all Jews are racist. Hell no. Then there are a lot of good Jews out there. But I'm just saying that I've met some very racist. In fact, I know of a friend who eventually he married the daughter of a Jewish couple. But initially, man, and up to this day, they didn't really want her to marry him. You know what I'm saying? But he stuck with it, man. He stuck with it for 12 years. And they finally got married. And I don't know if they got the approval of the parents to get married. But they stuck for 12 years. He was an African dude, came from Africa, black dude, as black as they get. You know, I'm not going to call their names. But yeah, racism is not, the dude stuck with it though. And first they started to do the thing on the D-Lo when he couldn't get the acceptance from the parents. They just kind of stuck together on the D-Lo. But eventually he was in such a good position and in such a great position of power that they couldn't stop them. I don't know if the mother or the father actually acknowledged. So when people talk about, oh, they're Jewish, so that means they're immune from racism, get out of here. Some of the most racist people you might find are Jewish people. All right. And again, no disrespect to Jewish people, but I'm just being straight. I'm just saying what it is. So Rosa Barr, anyway. In fact, Adolf Hitler, it's a part of history people don't talk about, but Adolf Hitler actually got some of his support from some Jewish people. Isn't that ironic? Against your own Jewish people, you're going to. In fact, if you think about the Palestinian initiative that they call Israel today, that ain't made up of mostly the real crop Jews. It's made up of European Jews, Ashkenazi Jews. Most of the Jews in Israel are from Ashkenaz, from descendants of Ashkenaz. And go read your Bible, Genesis chapter 10. Okay, that's the first point. And the Jews that, come from Ethiopia, there's a couple of them, they're treated differently. Not all Jews are created equal. Let's just put it that way. And the interesting thing is the original Jews, I'm not saying they were black, dark-skinned people. I'm not saying that at all, even though the Semites were. But I am saying that the original Jews were not white people. The Grecians were more white. Note what I said, Grecians. The Grecians are the people who were mixed with European blood, that they lived in Rome and they lived in Greece and they lived in Egypt. The Copts and the Coptics, they had mixed blood. But when, and when I talk about mixed blood, I'm talking about the people from the north. The people from the north are the people who were white. All right. So that's why they talk about the Caucasus Mountains and Caucasians. People of the north were fairer skin. And the only reason they were fairer skin with other different features because it's colder up there. It's colder. Right? That's the reason. So when you talk about white people and descendants of white people and white people and white people, this is just people who have adapted to the cold. You don't see white people in the tropics, do you? I mean, white people. You don't see it. Everybody got a tan because it's hot. Your body has to adapt to that. Okay. So you wouldn't find white people in the Sahara. Yes, they'll have features like white people, but they, like the Berber and so on. But generally, everybody's dark. Everybody got a tan. Everybody's dark skinned. You just can't be white unless you're in an air conditioned place all day. You ain't going in the sun at all. My complexion has changed just by being in the sun. I got a nice, rich, red and brown tan. You see me, I look darker. If you guys gonna watch earlier videos of me, I'm lighter skinned. The reason being, it's my exposure to the sun in a tropical condition. If I go to North America, I look bleached and pale. I hate how I look. I like having a rich, blood rich, ripping red and brown looking color. That's the thing. It looks like I'm alive and my blood's pumping through me. I can't take too much sun. I'll get sunburned. The sun is very brutal these days, so you have to be careful how you be in it. But at the same time, yeah, man, being in the sun's great. You gotta be careful because you can get dehydrated and constipated, but that's another story for another day. So my point anyway to you people is this, that Tom Arnold is pointing out something very true, and he's a white guy. Tom Arnold's a white guy. And it's nice when I see white people understand the perspective from other people who are not white like themselves. They can relate, they can understand, they can talk about things, because sometimes they can relate things to other white people in ways, colored people cannot, people of different races and ethnicities. And it's sad because it's just simply a cultural difference and the language. And because some people have grown up in privilege and they don't know about, how other people behave, they can't relate. And the difficulties other people have in their lives. I've been profiled, I've been followed in shops and stores in the United States. When I come to Trinidad, my home country, which is a paradise, it's a beautiful place, easy to live, laid back kind of life. When I came back to Trinidad, folks, nobody follows me around looking if I'm going to steal something in a store. It's really cool. You're on your own. Police don't follow me. If I'm going one place or another, I'm not profiled, right? I'm not profiled. Maybe they're monitoring me. Maybe they're watching, but they don't follow me. They're not monitoring me like that. So I don't ever have to feel uncomfortable about somebody following me, even though I'm not doing anything wrong. My point to you guys is, I know what it is to live in a society where racism is not the be all and end all. I truly live in a cosmopolitan country, even though there's still racism and classism in my country, for sure. Right? But even if you're a white person, if you come to my country, you're going to get treated just like everybody else. Okay? You're not getting any preferential treatment because you're white. You get treated like everybody else in my country. And it's really cool. Now you can, of course, if you have some money, you're going to be treated even better. There's a classism in my country. There is classism. But my point being, you come down here, you're going to have a grand old time. And ain't nobody going to know you even here. That's why a lot of movie stars, a lot of people come to Trinidad. Lots of people come to Trinidad from all over the world. They come here because ain't nobody, you may be a superstar walking the street. You may walk the street in Trinidad. Nobody going to trouble you. Nobody. They may recognize you. Oh, that Denzel Washington. Okay, cool. And you just walk on. Or, some big movie star or something. They'll just watch you for a moment. Anyway, you will not be in the part of Trinidad anyway where people will see you like that anyway. So, it's different worlds depending on your class, right? And that's just the way how that goes. Now, anyway, my point is, Arnold wouldn't speculate how Barr would react. Okay, so I'm down here. Okay, let me finish this off. Arnold also vehemently declared that he believes Trump to be a racist and suggested that many would continue to excuse the president for that behavior, even if Arnold was able to unearth a tape he claims exists of Trump using the N-word. 50% of the country knows he's racist, Arnold said. Hearing the N-word, I think we're going to have to do that too. Black people know he's racist. I know he's racist. There are some people that are like, even if they hear it, they're going to say, yeah, but that's just a one-time thing. Well, how about 5 times? Well, that's just a 5-time thing. Everybody does that. It's bull. And he cusses. Bullshit. All right. And you have to call out things for what they are. All right. I'm not saying people are not redeemable. I'm not saying Roseanne Barr can't be redeemed for what she did. But she does not deep down in her heart even accept or acknowledge that she did something tremendously wrong. See, that's the difference between Roseanne Barr and James Gunn. James Gunn, he's not even trying to dispute the incident. He's not even trying to defend himself at this point in time. He's not making any multiple excuses for what he did. He just said, you know what? He just owned the shit. Like Harley Quinn would say, own it. Own that shit. He's owning the shit. He's like, man, I did it 9 years ago, but you know what? It's atrocious. And he's done with that. And if I lost my job over that, so be it. Now, other people are fighting for him because they know he's a stand-up guy. Roseanne Barr is fighting for her own self. She ain't even trying to she got some people to recruit now. She got Monique to try and defend her and talk about her sister and my sister and all the things she done for black people. Monique, you can keep on going with a diatribe. You ain't convincing nobody that the word that she said was racist and people had a right to stand up against that. If you let that racist statement go and you just making excuses for this sister, Then, well, Charlie Sheen tried to jump in and say, he can relate to Roseanne Barr because, he has said politically incorrect things too. I'm going to say it again. I really don't give a damn if Charlie Sheen said that too. Y'all can form a league and try to defend Roseanne Barr. And what she said was wrong. And we have to go there. When somebody does something wrong, you got to let them know. Now, she can get a second chance, but not in the industry. I'm not saying you need to be a blacklister in the industry. She can get a second chance, but we're going to be watching you, Roseanne, like a hawk. We're going to be watching you. We ain't asking you to continue your show because that's a done deal. You ain't getting another chance. Ain't nobody going to defend you. Nobody going to defend that because you killed your career with that statement. And that was a recent thing while the show was going on. You didn't have to say that. You went and said it. All right. And it's one thing to say political statements. It's another thing when you are denigrating human beings and you giving something that has a history. White people denigrated black people throughout this country, United States of America, and throughout the world. And they're still suffering the effects of being denigrated. And they're still suffering the effects of the history of being denigrated. And they're still suffering the effects of being raped. All right. So when you even try and rationalize that statement, it ain't funny, first of all. Second of all, there's no way anybody can excuse you from it because it's fresh. It's a recent thing. It's not something that we have to pull back 9 years ago to go look for and hunt for. It's a recent thing. And you still conduct yourself the same way how you conducted yourself there. It's not like you don't conduct yourself the same way. You conduct yourself the same way. You didn't even change. You didn't try to change. So for you to talk about, you were so offended and so sad that people saw your statement a certain way, get the hell out of here. You better get your head out of your ass. Get your head out of your ass, Roseanne. Before you be apologetic and, you really try to show people that you have changed, you going to talk that? Hell no. Hell no. Now, with respect to Donald Trump is still the same. He has said statements consistent with his racism from since way back, and his father was a racist too. So he's been consistent in excusing the Ku Klux Klan and saying bad things. He's been consistent. He's not repentant of being that. And he's bold with it too. James Gunn's not Donald Trump. He's not Roseanne Barr. James Gunn's gone. James Gunn ain't trying to argue the statement. It's people trying to argue to defend James Gunn right now. James Gunn has said not another word. He just disappeared and he's done. And he's repentant about what he's truly repentant because James Gunn's going to show you. He's going to show you not only in his words, but in his actions. He's not that guy that you saw back there. And even the statement he said, when he was trying to be provocative, which was stupid and a dumb joke and callous, he's right. That ain't me no more. And the point behind it is we do stupid things in the past, but if we truly have been repentant of it, we ain't trying to defend those statements. We're not going to try and defend it. Roseanne's trying to defend that statement. Hypocrisy, but white privilege. White privilege. People are going to listen to her and say, see, Roseanne has changed. And look, she got a black token woman, Moesha, who has been victimized too. A black token woman to stand up for her. And look at this white dude, an upstanding white man. Nevertheless, he's a sleazeball and he said some really bad things. But all three of them share something in common. They're kind of blackballed. They're kind of blacklisted. Yeah, look at that. But that never is a case. I agree with Monique about one thing. She's been blacklisted by the community. And I feel for her because she's been blacklisted. But that's a separate issue to her backing Roseanne. Now, I do believe that Roseanne, according to Monique, should get a second chance. Of course. Nobody's saying don't give Roseanne a second chance and let her career do whatever. But we're going to watch you, Roseanne. We're watching you because you're dangerous. Because the statement you made was dangerous. That was no joke. That was no joke. That was a dangerous statement. Very dangerous statement. Especially for people who have gone through some shit. And I'm not saying as a comedian, you shouldn't be able to say whatever you want to say. But you saying something that shows that you look at people a certain way. Who you truly look at people as. And Tom Arnold said, look, people came down on me when I said Roseanne was a racist. I was married to the woman. I knew what I was saying. Now you guys looking at her differently. All right. And my point being this. All right. That in my opinion, you got to be able to see through the nonsense. And as I said before, and I'll maintain it, James Gunn's situation was where a right-wing person decided to try and get back at somebody who was left-wing. That's what's going on. Because and they had to dig up dirt from way in the past. And this right-wing person is nasty. This right-wing person literally believes that rape is okay. James Gunn was just making a joke. He didn't believe that. He was just trying to be provocative. This dude actually believes it and dug up that dirt on James Gunn to try and get him. It was like, oh, y'all got Roseanne, we're going to get James Gunn. You know what I'm saying? That's what went on. And I'm not a right-wing or a left-wing person. I'm not. But when I see BS, I'm going to call it. If the James Gunn incident is bullshit, it's bullshit. That's the truth. And anybody wanted to argue with me about that, I can show you the false equivalency on that, because Roseanne Barr still believed what she believed. She still believed what she believed. And you know what's the funny thing about it? She backs Israel so much that she is vilifying a woman who is saying we need justice. We need the scales to be balanced. Israel can't just do whatever they feel like with Palestine and attack any old person. That's what Valerie, the woman who she called a monkey, was advocating for and drafted. And if you say that you are an Israeli and you say you stand by the nation of Israel, okay, and their military, and you're going to tell me that that's the reason for you saying that, then you're saying that it's okay to just go kill innocent people in Palestine, which makes you even worse as a person, because not only you're racist, you're also a supremacist, because you don't care about the other side. You don't care about other people. So why should we care about your view, Roseanne? Why should we care about you? Why should we go, oh, poor Roseanne? Why should I empathize with you? You're not empathizing with the Palestinians. You want to do them whatever you feel, because Israel's always right. I'm going back Israel all the way. And that's what I told you guys about partisanship. She tried to make other excuses too, because she's trying to save her career. She knows she ain't going to make a dime off of what she said. And this kind, it's justifiable. If Hollywood doesn't want to employ you ever again, Roseanne, it's because you have attributes in your character which are atrocious. So whether there's political games being played or not, you literally believe certain atrocious things. Why would Hollywood want to employ someone who is a blatant sexist? Not a blatant racist, sorry. Harvey Weinstein, he's blacklisted for good reason. He done some atrocious things. Is he redeemable? Hopefully. They can redeem him. And hopefully Roseanne can be redeemed. What I mean by that, I'm not trying to play political games, because I'm trying to say everything is salvageable. What I mean by that is, I'm sure there are people in Hollywood that have done worse things than Roseanne has done, but they under D-Lo. And she at least was much more open about what she said. And she said her things openly on Twitter. So that makes her redeemable. She's actually expressing what's in her mind. We can start from there. But it's the racists who are subversive. What I mean by that is they don't say what's in their mind. And they even may have what we call, they're in denial that they're racist. They're the most dangerous kinds, because now they actively institute and implement racism in systems. You see, those are dangerous people. And we know there's racism in Hollywood and so on. Now with Monique, I know her situation. She laid it out. I understand some of the things she did wasn't so cool. Other things she did was, she made mistakes, but at the end of the day, she should not be blackballed. She shouldn't. And they blackballed her. And again, this is not necessarily racism that caused that, but politics caused that. You know, and she's a very talented actor, and she plays, comedian, improvs and stuff. She's a very talented actor and also a very talented comedian, and she should be getting work in Hollywood. And that's bullshit. I call that on Hollywood. But let's get to this. And Charlie Sheen, also a very talented actor, and he has some controversial opinions as well, and he feels like an outsider, and he should not be an outsider. What I mean by that is, it's political games people are playing with these people. They are political, they're trying to make them political puppets, and that's not right. So I'm just saying, Monique and Charlie Sheen, here's what you guys need to do. And even Roseanne, start your own damn company. What are you waiting on Hollywood for? Start your own company. If you guys are outsiders, Do your own thing. Get some sponsors and do your own thing. You don't need Hollywood. You can do it too. You got all the resources and talents to do what you need to do. Empower yourself and get it going. Get it done, baby. Keep it rolling. Because we still need your voice in the airwaves. We still need your voice in the discussion. So if they want to, and I know how nasty people can be, because it's politics we're talking. You can be very nasty. I've experienced it as well. And I've experienced various things in my life. And I'll tell people this. So you understand me. I said your character is the most important thing, not the appearance of your character. See, a lot of these political people, they play to appearance. Inside, they're nasty people, but outside, they try to project that they are good people, and they try to project that they're good through and through. And remember, they're actors, so a lot of them can act, okay? But at the end of the day, being genuine to the core, inside and outside, is the way to go. When you are a genuine person, don't let nobody take that from you. And when you came into, say, for instance, Hollywood as a genuine person, stay that way. Truly stay that way. Whether you live or die, live by that. It's not about legacy or none of that. It's just about being true. And so Roseanne was true to herself. I don't know why she's trying to backtrack now. She should have just straight up said, nah, man, this is how I felt about her. And yes, it's racist. And you know what? I need to overcome that. It's a racist tendency. See, when we can be real, because guess what? Nobody in this world, no one is 100% good. So if you got flaws and you're a very flawed person like myself, why pretend? Why try to make excuses for that? No, own it, like Harley Quinn says, and then look to try and destroy it. So, for instance, Roseanne Barr, you got some racism up in you. It's a problem. I don't expect it to go away overnight. But check it, Roseanne. Own that shit. I'm able to say that, I have a problem with online pornography. It's a problem. I don't like it. I don't like that aspect of myself. You own it because you don't like it and you want to get rid of it. You own up to it. Be responsible. Don't blame nobody. Don't try to tell people what you meant. Own it. Be real. Go all the way. Be real. Don't make excuses. Don't try to convince the public. Be you. Let them see what you really are. You don't need to apologize to nobody except yourself and others. What I mean by that is, this is who you are. Now, what I mean by apologize, of course you have to apologize for the horrendous things you do. And hopefully you're not proud of it. Hopefully you're struggling with it. Hopefully you're trying to see the world as in a better light. You know what? Sometimes people say some really tremendously bad things about me. I get a lot of people say a lot of bad things about me, right? And you even see it online. They call me all kinds of names. But you know what? Some of the things they say about me is true. And I just own up to it. And I say, you know what? You're 100% true about that. That is true about me. If you don't know what your flaws are, and how can you work on them? If you can't work on your flaws, how are you going to be a better person? I'm not saying that. Let me make it abundantly clear. If I call somebody a racist, or I say you a racist, or that's a racist statement, get this 100%. Understand this, people. It does not mean you're the worst person ever on the face of the earth. No, it's a flaw. It's something you need to work on. Guess what? I got a flaw too, and it's pretty horrendous. And I have to work on my shit too. But that does not mean it's excusable. It doesn't mean that you should be happy that you have flaws. And that's the difference between me and other Christians. They say, I'm a Christian, but I'm not perfect. They're happy to say that. There's nothing to be happy about, folks. That's shameful that you're not perfect. And people like to revel in their imperfections. I don't. I always believe as human beings, we should transcend. We should move and get better and better. I don't believe we should get worse and revel in being worse. But that does not excuse the fact that each and every one of us have skeletons in our closet. And each and every one of us have flaws. But in the pursuit of being better, we work on the flaws we have so that we can be better. But some of us, again, it's how you perceive flaws. Some of us perceive flaws in other people when they are actually strong attributes. And you know what's the funny thing about it? Sometimes the attributes we have, the virtues that we have, they can be either flaws or they can be actually excellent things. It's how we focus on them, and it's what our motivation is behind them. Take, for instance, Roseanne Barr is pretty much, what I like about her is she's very forthright, as is Donald Trump to some degree. He will tell you what's in his mind, okay? That's actually a beautiful thing because it makes for the person to be somewhat honest. Here's the downside to it. Your motivation. Now, you tell me what your motivation is, but if it's an evil motivation, I'm not cool with that. So it's good to be honest, but it's better to also realize that not only do you need to be honest, you need to be good. In other words, your motivation needs to be good. Steppenwolf was honest. He never lied about anything his intentions were, but his intentions were atrocious. They were about annihilating mankind. So his honesty is a good quality, but his motives were evil. You got to do something about the motive. Now, a lot of times people have motives like this. Racism is as a result of they're afraid. I want to get on top of this thing because I'm afraid if these people get strong enough, they would do exactly what I'm doing to me. That's the fear with racism. The fear with racism and white people. I'm going to speak specifically about white people. There are other races who are racist. There are other ethnicities who are racist. So don't get it twisted. But I'm going to talk about white people right now. I'm going to talk about those other people later. White people are afraid that if minorities rise up, the same abuses and the same sort of oppression they put to those minorities will be returned onto them. And that's why they double down on being racist. That's it. It's a long short of the thing. People who do not have that racism in them and they're white, it's because they've seen the big schematic and they realize that, first of all, minorities are not a threat to them. Yes, there will be a sort of balancing out act where at times white people will be unfairly judged and treated bad and poorly, such as we saw in the case of the footballer back in the 90s who was cleared of a case where it seems he clearly killed the white woman and her sort of outside lover, right? I'm trying to remember O.J. Simpson, okay? They called it poetic justice, but clearly OJ was guilty. He was guilty of it. Now people say, well, he wasn't guilty in the court of law. No, he was guilty. Come on now, folks. Who else would have done it? What somebody's trying to set up OJ? OJ has a history of abusing women. He had a history of beating up women and doing some very bad things. And he always tried to micromanage women and where they go in their relationships. OJ did it. Okay. Let's just be real. He did it. He's walking free right now. A lot of people feel justice is not served. And unfortunately, it goes down racial lines where mostly white people feel that OJ didn't do the crime, that OJ did the crime. And most black people are like trying to defend it, right? Because they feel like so many white people, just recently this guy Zimmerman killed a black kid. And we know he killed a black kid. And we know he did it in cold blood because the black kid was beating his ass up because he tried to pick on the black kid to bully him. And the black kid could fight back. Okay. And he kicked his ass. And so he shot him and killed him, right? Zimmerman should be going to jail for that. He's not, okay? He's not even punished in any way, all right? We've seen many umpteen occasions where white and black cops have killed black people in cold blood. The black people have done them nothing and nothing worthy of death, per se, and nothing, they had committed no crime, and yet they were been executed, okay? We've seen it on tape. We've seen all these things. We had the big 1990s riots over the guy who had gotten beaten on tape and a white person that filmed it as well. See what I'm saying? And it shows that, generally speaking, America frowns on racism. We collectively, as a country, or I say we collectively, I'm not even in the United States of America, but anyway, they collectively frown on that. and they have propagated that racism is bad. And so when somebody is seen as a racist, they feel like they're condemned and there's no sort of retribution to them, or there's no, they cannot be redeemed. They're irredeemable. And that's not what, just because you're a racist doesn't mean you're not redeemable, but you have to make the conscious decision, just like if you're addicted to alcohol, or you're addicted to porn, or you're addicted to sex, or you're addicted to cocaine or any drug. You have to make a conscious decision that you want to change. And then you'll realize how hard it is to change from being a racist. You'll realize how hard it is to change from that, because you've grown up, you've been indoctrinated, you've been grounded in that system. And so it's going to take a while for you to come out of it. But the first thing you got to acknowledge is, look, man, this is really damaging and this is hurting other people. You have to be able to acknowledge that you're doing that. And yes, it's a politically correct society. I understand that. And people are ticky-tack with this shit. I understand it. But at the same time, you got to understand a lot of these movements, the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, these movements, these movements are actually good. I know the Me Too movement can affect me negatively as well as a man. I could be picked out now, especially at this time. And I could, if I become prominent in the future, that somebody could pull up my past. It's not very good with certain women. Okay, it's not good, and I'll be the first to tell you. And if they say, they pull my record on me and they say, look, you did this and did that and this, I ain't got no answer. I gotta tell them, hey, you're 100% correct. Hey, if I lose my job or whatever, so be it. But you're 100% correct. I'm not going to even try to make an apology for that, because in my eyes, it was atrocious too. That's why I wanted to kill myself at a certain point in time too, because I couldn't believe I was doing all the things that I stood against. I was compromised straight down the middle. You guys got to understand, when you come to a self-actualization or reality of what you really are, the good and bad of it, and seeing it flaming up, it's not a pleasant experience. Okay. When you had a perception of yourself that you were this good person and you realize you're not that, it's a total reality check, okay? And all I'm saying is, don't defend it. Seek to rise from it and above it, and have empathy for people who do that. Now you can see the other side. You've gotten that. You've experienced the other side. Now you see it. So now you have empathy. That's what I'm trying to explain about Roseanne Barr. You got to own your shit. Really, truly own your shit. This is what was inside of you all the time. Nothing gonna come out of you that's not inside of you. It was inside of you. It's not the drugs doing that. It's you. You have these thoughts. This is what you think. It's coming from you. So once she owns that shit and tries to, it's gonna be a process to change from that. And there's obviously a lot of admirable traits and characteristics about Roseanne, and she's quite a lovable person. So, and her mouth gets her in trouble most of the time, but she really is an outspoken person, like Moesha, like Charlie Sheen. They're outspoken people. Donald Trump is also an outspoken person. That's who they are. Okay. That's not a bad thing. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. These are admirable things, actually, that they're outspoken, and sometimes they're politically incorrect, but they're outspoken. I'm cool with all that. I'm just saying, you also got bad things inside of you. I'll use me as an example. When I get angry, you guys see how much cursing and swearing and stuff I do, right? That's not good. Okay? There's no part of that that's good. You may even hear me curse and then apologize right after it. I apologize. Because I know what I'm doing is wrong. I know it. And I want to be better. I don't want to be cursing and swearing like a sailor, or cursing and swearing like a demon-possessed toad. I don't want to be that. And I know my background. I know what I'm capable of doing. So at the end of the day, we have to rise above those things. But first, we have to know that these things are wrong. We don't make excuses for them. At no time. We are compromised when we do them. And there's nothing. We are in a compromised position. Anything anybody tells us at that point in time, we just have to kind of take it. And say, you're absolutely 100% right. That was a racist statement, and I was being racist there. And as much as I think that, this lady's wrong for the policy that she put forth, I'm being racist. You got to own it. And you got to own it hard. Because that's a part of yourself you do not desire to be like. And you got to squeeze that thing out of you. You got to get rid of it because you hate it. Because it will destroy you eventually. And so that's what I'm talking about. And you guys know, as Christians, and I struggle with it. I tell you guys, I'm very arrogant. People look at me and they're like, man, you are such a humble guy for selling water on the side of the road. And I'm like, no, you're getting fooled. That's just an appearance. I know what I am. And I know that I get drunk with knowledge. And then I'm ready to curse out the next person because I have short temper, short fuse, and short patience with people because I feel I know more than them. I have an issue with arrogance. Don't look at my state and how I'm behaving. I'm still fighting that thing. You have to be able to own the problem that you have. Not saying you'll get 100% there, but you'll make some progress. We got to face the man in the mirror, the good, the bad, and the ugly of that guy. Of course we don't throw away people. I'm never going to throw away Donald Trump. I'm never going to. And I'll always have the hope and belief that if he could have gotten this far as president of the United States, he would get far enough to become a beacon of light. I have to believe that. But at the same time, I'm never going to condone acts that he does, which are traitor and treasonous, and also acts that he does, which are blatant lies. And when he pushes something which is racist or so on, I had to clamp down, double down, and say he did that, and it's wrong. Because if I truly care about him, if I truly care about other people, I'm going to point out the good, the bad, and the ugly. If I'm a true friend, I'm not going to let it slide because I don't want him, after years and years and years of having that behavior, to think that it's acceptable. It's not acceptable. Whether he becomes impeached from office or not, guess what? Even if they put him away in federal prison, do you think that means we throw Donald Trump away? This man, with all his flaws, with all of his problems, became the president of the United States of America. That guy has something in him to get him to go to levels beyond what people would normally get to. You got to admire that. And he obviously has some positive attributes about him that we don't know about if we got to know him. So all I am saying is, there's hope for people who have mental disorders. There's hope for people who can't walk. There's hope for women. There's hope for minorities. There's hope for people, because if a guy like Donald Trump could make it to the Oval Office, no matter what happens, and win the elections, never mind his techniques and methods are controversial, he got there. That in and of itself is something to give all of us hope, that any one of us could achieve that. And so that's the bright light he shone on America. I could talk about many negative things this guy does, but you notice my videos don't always emphasize on the negative things about him. Nevertheless, there's a reckoning coming for him and for America. And so I pray God he will have mercy on both their souls, because every choice has a consequence. Adolf Hitler has done some really atrocious things. But one thing you can't say about Adolf Hitler was he was not a guy who was charismatic. He was an extremely charismatic guy. He was simple in his logic, but he was charismatic. He did some extremely atrocious things. And the one thing that you can take from Adolf Hitler is determination. And the most unlikely character, who has been a failure throughout his life, rose to become the Führer of Germany through determination and charismatic attitude. You don't have to be the brightest of them, but you can make it in this life if you're charismatic. And oh my God, if he was just a good person, if he just wanted to pursue the pursuit of good, just imagine how Germany would have been a beacon of light to the world with the Jews backing them. Unfortunately, he wasn't. Even though he had some good ideas, but the wrong motives. Do you understand? He had some good ideas, but the wrong motivations. And Donald Trump, even, he has some good ideas. He just has the wrong motivation. But thankfully, this situation leads us to discuss these things openly. Openly. The white people, the people from the north, they learned how to survive in the cold, high altitude. They lived in caves, but a number of people lived in caves as well. They weren't as advanced as the other advanced civilizations, but these people came from that to conquer the world. They learned, and they knew how to conquer. What am I saying to you guys? It's not the brightest person in the room. You may end up being the head of a corporation or a great, great multinational business if you just have some charisma and determination. It's not the brightest in this world that are the most successful. And that's the biggest theme of hope I could give you, each and every one of you out there. I'm still processing something that happened yesterday. I don't even feel it's reality. Very nice person died yesterday. Suddenly. It's my neighbor's son-in-law. And I still can't process that. It has not hit home to me what that means. It's a shock. And it's just so heavy on me, I can't even process it. Over the last couple of days, a number of people who are 20-something-year-olds, 30-something-year-olds, now this gentleman who I overheard was 55 years old, they passed away suddenly. If he wasn't ill, he wasn't sick, he just gotten surgery on his leg, and he ends up dying. I want to make this abundantly clear to you guys once again. Life is not infinite. You will die. When? We don't know. You never know who's going to die next. My point is, while you're alive, do as much good as you can. Not so that when you die, the world misses you, but so that the world will be left with something from you that is good, so that the world can be better off when you're gone. I can tell you, the world's better off because he was here. Always positive, always supportive, always helping. And his legacy will live on. In me, I was affected by him, my neighbors, in this community. He will live on. And I can't come to terms with it. It's something I haven't processed emotionally or otherwise. It's so fresh and so sudden that I I don't know what to say. I'm kind of numb to it. Because I saw him just a couple days ago and he was fine. My cousin, she died at 51. She bled to death. She fell asleep and never woke up. It was my mentor. And that thing devastated me. It took the life out of me. And I know this is going to do the same. It's going to devastate me. Because it's a slow burn. I know how these things work. Suddenly, somebody's gone. It takes a while to catch up to that and process it. I'm telling you guys now, while you're alive, value the people around you. I don't give a damn what their race is, what their gender is, what their sex is, how old they are, how annoying they can be. Value them. Value life. Be thankful for being alive, no matter how sick you may be. Who would have thought that one of my other very, very sick neighbors down the street would outlive this young, strong, wonderful person? My point being, however, his life was not in vain. His life was positive, useful, wonderful, inspiring. He lived a much more fulfilling life than half of us watching this video ever lived. His life was full and wonderful. So I have no regrets about saying that his legacy is strong. Now we just have to cope with him not being around physically with us. And we'll get through with that, because if it was him, he'd feel the same way, but he'd find a way to be inspiring in spite of it and positive in spite of it. I tell you guys this so that you guys would know, it's a warning almost. If you're doing something that is not helping other people, stop it. I know it's going to be hard to stop, but stop it. If it's not helping yourself, it's not helping other people, stop it. Your character, Psalms 91, go read it. Your character is everything. Not the appearance of your character. The core character inside of you, the tendencies inside of you are everything. Protect that. That's your soul. And let it be cleaned and purged within you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your comments in the comment section. If you have anything to say in the chat section, please feel free to say it. I'm going to just look at your comments and then I'm going to be on my way. Let me let you guys see me again so you can see my face, my funky face. Oh, I just put it. You guys can see me as I talk to you guys. All right. Dave Ethan, a beacon in the middle of the dark. I love you, bro. I really do. Dave Ethan says, hey there, Anson. And he's clapping away. Shout out to you, my bro. Shout out to you. You're one of the guys that inspire me to want to be a better person. Dave Ethan says, just like Hulk Hogan killed his wrestling legacy. Yeah, but he's still the dude. I still like Hulk Hogan. I mean, he went and had an affair with a lady, but again, he has flaws. So we sometimes look at our heroes as, you know, that's what I like about the DCEU. They humanize our heroes. Heroes can have flaws. They have high ideals, but they have flaws. And Hulk Hogan is no different, you know. But yes, he has some very, very bad flaws. I mean, he's racist and all of that. And again, you have to understand that these are flaws. You can't just write off the entire person. Yes, they're racist, and that's dangerous. But you can't write off the person. Don't ever do that. Don't ever give up on people. And I really do want to. And sometimes on social media, I want to block people and keep them blocked. Sometimes I remove their comments. Sometimes I block them from the, but I really shouldn't. Really should let people speak, because when they speak out, now we can actually have a conversation, and eventually in time, that debate can be put to the public forum, and then eventually in time, we can start to at least see each other's point of view. Tommy Temper says Hulk needs to be driven out from the spotlight and disgraced, not empowered from what he said. Right, right, right. Tony Temper says, I'm sorry to hear about your cousin. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to you back in Ireland, or is it Scotland? I can't remember which one it is. Sorry about that, but I really want to hail you where you actually are. Just tell me again, Tommy Temper, exactly where you live, so I remember. I think it's Ireland, right? Sometimes I mix it up with Scotland. I don't think it's Scotland. I think it's Ireland. Shout out to you, and shout out to the people in England. Wait. England? Oh, you're English? Oh, snap. Now I feel like an idiot. Now I feel like a complete idiot. Damn. Okay, shout out to the English people out there. And Tommy Temper, man. Shout out to you, my brother. You're Irish. All right. Okay. All right, cool. All right, man. Shout out to you, Tommy Temper, anyway. Damn, man, I was so off base. That's funny. I feel like an idiot, though. You know, when I get people's name or their places wrong, I feel stupid. But so you live in England, but you're Irish. All right, cool, man. Cool. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to your peoples up in England. And you know, it's nice to really talk with you, man. You're in another country, but yet I feel like there's a brotherly spirit between you and me somehow. As with Dave Ethan. Dave Ethan is an awesome person. I can't. Dude, if I could just be like you, just about 1% of what you are, dude, it would be so much better. I just wish I was like you, bro. I covet what you have, mentally, that is. You're able to rise above certain things, man, and I'm not been able to do so. I'm still struggling, man. But Tommy Temper, shout out to you as well. You're an awesome person. I know you from boxing and stuff, and I really do need to go back and just take a look at what's happening in boxing recently. There, brilliant performance by Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia put on a clinic against what's his name? Oh gosh, I forgot his name. Fantastic long boxer as well, man. You know, it was a brilliant performance by Mikey Garcia. He's a beast, man. He's a beast. I saw him knock down oh, come on, man. I know his name. I seen his face. I just can't remember his name. Fantastic boxing match, by the way. Fantastic. Good boxing in there. And Mikey Garcia's making a name for himself. He beat Adrian Broner. He beat Robert Easter Jr. Thank you very much. Thank you, Robert Easter Jr. And I would be talking about I mean convincingly beat them, man. Dave Ethan, man, dude. I don't know how you do it, man. You stay positive in spite of the things that we see and stuff. The stuff is very disturbing. But you know, I will say this. I will say that I'm coming around to trying to open my mind to the DCEU movies that are upcoming. You know, I actually want to, you know, look at them and enjoy them. So I'm trying to open my mind to that. You know, I'm just trying because Dave Eaton, guys like you and Leroy Kong, you guys really truly epitomize what a comic book movie fan should be. You know, you guys really love the comic book movies and you really support them. Hey, by the way, how many of you guys are going out to see Mission Impossible 6? I don't have the money yet, but as soon as I do, I think I want to check that thing out. I really do. And of course, it's not for necessarily the storyline, even though I think it's going to be a thriller. So I'm really interested about that. But In terms of just the action scenes. I heard the action scenes are really dope, and I really want to see that. And there's no CGI involved, so gosh, I got to see that. I just got to see it. And it's so brutal. I look at the stuff and I'm like, wow. I saw Get a Fire Stick. Oh man, dude, I gotta see Mission Impossible 6. I have to see that thing, man. Yeah. Oh, the rain has stopped. The sun hasn't come out, but the rain has stopped. I'm going out there and work now. I go sell drinks and stuff. Man, Dave Ethan, that would be awesome, man. I'm glad you can go see it. I don't know if I could see it this weekend because I still have some bills to pay, but after this weekend, man. And shout out to you guys' families, by the way. I know you guys have families. I just want to just shout out to your families. I hope everything's going well with you at your homes. You know, even if it's going rough, just remember you can be that beacon of hope to your own family, you know. And you don't have to pretend to be a beacon of hope. If you're down, you let them know you're down, etc. You be honest through it all. But at the end of the day, you know, you try to be hopeful to people, inspire them in your situation. You know what I mean? Anyways, man, guys, I got to go. It was nice talking to you guys. I just wanted to highlight these different things as a human being, not as a political minded person per se, just as a human being, you know, discussing issues. Hopefully we can get to the heart of things. I hope that, you know, even though I may not always behave the way as a Christian does behave, I hope that the words sometimes I say or the values that I put out will be things that, you know, you guys can see are Christian values, right? I always believe it's not about trying to appear to look good. It's more about being that way from your core, so that no matter what happens, that you're actually going to be that. And, you know, that's what I really wanted to say. Peace out to you guys. Tommy, Temp, David, Ethan. I wish you guys the best today, success, and also love. And also, most importantly, that you keep that character, or you build that character that you're building. You guys have a good one. It's nice to see you, Dave, man. You always like a shining light. I know you're not a perfect person, but yet you really inspire me, bro. All right. Have a good one.